All right, so Topaz is coming out soon, and here's what you need to know to start preparing for her. So first of all, Topaz is to follow up teams as Kafka is to dot teams. It's just another team that could be run to expand your overall team composition, so you don't really need her. And for most free-to-play players, she's probably going to be a skip, unfortunately. And it's not because they want to skip, but it's because they most likely spent all of their Jades either on Dan Heng or Fushuan or the latest Jing Lu and need to plan for a future unit. So if you are going to pull for her, here's what you need to know to start preparing for her. So first of all, she uses the new Ascension material, this Searing Steel Blade, and you need 65 of these. To get 65, you have to run this Shape of Scorch 13 times, and each time takes 30 Trailblazer power. So 30 times 13 is 390 total Trailblazer power, and you get 1 power every 6 minutes. So this equates to 2,340 minutes, which is 39 hours or just short of 2 days. So how many of these materials you need is really up to you and how far you plan on leveling them up. Myself, I don't plan to level Topaz very high, just kind of what I call like the free-to-play friendly or achievable level. And I was going to build a calculator to determine how many materials it's going to take. So I didn't want to reinvent the wheel with this calculator. I want to see if someone else already created it. So I was doing some searches and I came across the Hoyo Lab. Now, I didn't even know this existed. I know it's been the notices. It's been out there and many of you know it's there. I just didn't know. I didn't really care. But then I found you can do this check-in, and with the check-in, you can get free rewards. So if you didn't know about this, go ahead and log in. You have to create an account. You have to then sync your actual in-game account to it, and then you can get these free rewards. It's not that much, but hey, it's free rewards, right? So what's pretty cool about the website is not only do you check in and get free materials, it does show you some information on your account, but there is one thing on here called leveling calculator. So this is what you can use to help determine what it's going to take, what materials and how much it's going to cost to be able to level up your character and their light cone. So this only shows characters that are currently in game. And since Topaz hasn't been released, you're not going to see her down here. But I'm going to select Sela because Sela is a hunt character, same with Topaz. So they use the same level of materials. The only difference is instead of this Conqueror's Will for Sela, you have to use that other material, that red one. I forgot what it's called for Topaz. Now to use this, you set on the first column what level you want to start off with. So if you're looking at what it's going to take to max out Topaz from level 1, set the first column left on level 1, and then on the right, where do you want to take it? So I am going to level her up to 80, but if you want to do 70, you can add that here. But for me, 80. Basic attack. Now I haven't really looked at her skills, but I'm going to level her up to, again, what I call like the free to play friendly. So that's level 7 for skill ultimate talent. That's 1 level into the 4-star purple materials, because those are what requires the most amount of energy or trailblazer power. I can't say that for some reason. So I'm just going to call it energy. So, but anyways, I'm going to start basic attack with 4 again. That's right before it gets into the 4-star power. And right now I'm planning everything to level 7. And I do plan on getting all her traces. So let me unsync everything. Now I'm going to select every trace. But if there are traces you don't want to get, like maybe this one I don't necessarily need. I wish it would show the stats here, but that looks like a defensive trace. So if I want to save on materials, I can probably just unselect that. But for her, I most likely want all the attack ones. But I'm just going to select that for this example, hit confirm, and it updates everything here. So you can see everything I need. Also down here is the light cone. So I'm going to take the light cone out. It's going to subtract it. And now I can see just for character leveling in a session, this is what we're going to need. Again, 65 of those Ascension material pieces. For the traces, again, the biggest bottleneck is going to be the arrows. As you're farming out the 4-star purple arrows, you'll get enough of the blue and green ones. So I would say don't worry so much about that, but trying to get to 47 of these, that's going to take quite a bit of energy. And I'm currently farming them right now. And we can see I currently have 32 of them. And I also have 128 of the blue ones. So again, you can synthesize the blue ones to get the purple ones. And that's what the calculator helps, because if I go back and I see I need how many of the blue, I need 69 of the blue ones. So I can synthesize about another 60 here for the purple ones, so I don't over grind this dungeon and use the energy on something else. So at this time, I currently don't plan on getting her light cone. We'll see where that goes. That's very debatable for me, but then I can look again down here what I'm going to need. The biggest thing again are these arrows and how much energy, how much time is it going to take for me to get those. Also the Traveler's Guides, 294, that's a lot to pretty much max her out. So what's pretty cool about this again is this helps you plan on where you're going to maximize your energy. So if you want to do the more free to play version where you're trying to minimize the amount of 4-star, in this case the arrows, you can put all these to 6 and you can see it went down from 47 to 38. You're going to need at least 38 if you want to get all the traces and fully level her. So this is like the minimum you would need to go to. So now if we bump this up to level 8, let's see how many of the 4-star. So again, remember it was at 47, so 62. So that's a significant bump. And again, I haven't looked at Topaz, so I don't know if the skill, ultimate, or talent which to prioritize yet. So I'm just doing all 3. But again, I want to say her ultimate, if I recall, is something you do want to prioritize, because then that's when Numby gets the buff. The skill, maybe not. I'm not really sure. But let's just say 10, 8, 8. Now you can see it is jumping up again pretty high, 84. So once you start going above level 8, that's when the resources starts jumping. So there it went from 92 to 100. And if you want to do all level 10s, it went from 100 and 128. Just that one level required so many 4-stars. So that's why that's not really free to play friendly territory. Free to plays can do it, but you would have to be focusing, like hard focusing on a unit or one unit, and coming off again with Jinglu, most likely you spent all your resources on Jinglu, Fushuan, or Dan Heng in the past. All right, so we're going to look at what it's going to take to fully max her out. And this is what you see on the internet that people talk about all the time. So again, it's good information to know if you're going to max them out, but I'm going to say most people are not maxing out every unit, only the whales, the Krakens. And when it comes to Topaz, most likely only the Krakens are going to max her out. Even I don't plan on maxing her out, but I consider myself a light spender. But you can see 139 arrows. That takes a lot of energy to be able to do it. While you're getting the 139, you'll most likely get the blue and green arrows, so that's not really a significant thing. Also, this Guardian's alignment, I forgot to mention this. This requires some energy, but not much. But you have to go and do the Echoes of Wars to be able to get that. Again, it's 30 energy. I believe you get 5 or 3 per run. I can't remember. So that would take at least 4 runs to get that as well. So you're looking at another day. So again, looking at this, this will help you plan out how much time you're going to need, what materials you're going to need. Again, you don't want to over farm, I guess, materials, because you're on a limited time and you have a finite amount of energy to be able to spend on resources that you don't need. So traces is definitely one of the major bottlenecks in here that requires a lot of energy, but then the next thing are your relics, your gear. So for Topaz and Numby, what makes this interesting is, well, there's actually quite a few things. So first of all, she's a fire unit, a fire-based DPS unit. A lot of her skills are actually increasing her fire damage. So chances are you want to run fire relics on her. But the fire relic right now is tied with imaginary. So it's not as bad as probably the Ice Wind set that we've been going through with Jinglu if you haven't been running Quantum. And because Imaginary is very useful for Dan Heng if you have him, Welt if you have him too. Whereas Wind right now, not many units benefit from Wind. But chances are you haven't really farmed that many of these pieces. At least I haven't, because I haven't had any fire units. I just got Dan Heng, and I don't even run the imaginary pieces. I run Musketeers. Musketeers still a good go-to set for DPS units. Musketeers, again, if you run the 4-piece set, you'll get an increase in speed. Depending on your substats, you may not need to run Musketeers, or if you have very bad speed, like say you don't have speed boots and you want to get the magic number 134, you can run the Hackerspace, the speed set, at a sacrifice to some of your attack. So it really depends on your gear and what substats you have. Mix and match most likely between the speed set, the Musketeer set, and probably the fire set might be best if you got all the substats to be able to put on her. Now this is where it gets really interesting. So we've only been talking about Topaz just to build her out, and she again is a boost to follow-up units. So if you don't have a follow-up team built, then you need to do this all over again. You need the traces, you need the relics to be able to build them out. So the follow-up units that you'll most likely pair with her, it could be Blade, but chances are you won't be pairing Blade. Also mid one, but I don't know. I would say chances are you might not, if you have them. I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth, because if you invested in him, you most likely want to use him, and he does benefit from Topaz, or I guess Topaz will boost him. In my case, I actually have him E1. That was on accident. So I went into his banner again to try to get more team Yuns, and I pulled him on the second multi. So I was like, okay, I'll take that. But I wouldn't mind using him. But I'm really looking at Topaz so I can use my Clara. So I just started building out my Clara. I have also an E1 Clara with the S2 light cone. I just haven't superimposed it yet. And this is because I failed so many 50-50s. I kept pulling Clara. But I always wanted to use her. I mean, I want to use all the characters in the game. I wish they would give more resources just to get them at a playable level. I understand they don't want to give resources out to max everyone out, because then they just don't make money. But, you know, I have so many characters that I haven't even leveled. And I just pulled Himiko in the standard banner, and she's probably going to be the main unit that gets the biggest boost with Topaz, her and Clara. But because Himiko is also fire, so as you're pulling more of the fire relics, if you don't get something that's specific to Topaz, you can put it on Himiko. I think they're probably about equal pairing as far as the relics that are needed. But yeah, again, gonna have to go through this all over again with the traces, and the amount of traces that I'm gonna need is a lot. So that's the main issue here. You can see my links, you know, again, it's level 1. My Luca's level 1. I wish I could be able to level them so I can actually use them, but I guess it is what it is. So anyways, I'm not as excited about her, but I am looking forward to her, because again, I'm enjoying the game. I like to play around with team compositions and build out different teams for different scenarios, and she is a perfect addition to the game for just that. Again, she's not the biggest DPS unit, but she just opens up more potential, expands the game, expands the experience of the game. So I think she's going to be a really good addition. So I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't know how you free-to-play players do this. I mean, you're just strapped for everything, Jades, materials. I mean, everything. It's a challenge. You might not even be considering Topaz just because you can't summon for her, you can't get the Jades. But for those of you that are, hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, let me know in the comments below. And until then, I'll see you on the next one.